How you doing, beautiful people? It's Alexander. I'm in the park and it's cold, so forgive me. I'm in the gloves and the hat. But what I want to talk about today is how we use food as a coping mechanism. Yeah, so standard known thing, overeating, emotional eating. I'd like to argue that most of our eating is emotional eating, or at least big portion of it. Now, some of us don't see it this way. Some of us don't understand how it works and how it affects us. So, even in context of this channel with social anxiety, when we don't want to feel it, when we don't want to feel those uncomfortable emotions, we're like, oh, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling anxious, I'm not feeling right, I need to eat. Speak to me after we have a meal. You know, back in the day, people would do business deals and talk about business conversations only after they had a meal together. So they're all feeling good and happy, and there are no negative emotions because we by default have them. Okay, we're just not used to even processing them. So by default, we have anxiety, we have anger, we have frustration. Just by default, that's our default state as human beings right now. Okay, it's not looking good in that sense. It's not the judgment of it, but it's not desired. Okay, I would agree. I would assume most of you don't desire it, so it's not beneficial to how we are right now. Yet we're not used to processing it. We're just eating, not to feel it. Most people eat 3 times a day. Gym bros eat 5 times a day, and we're just used to it being this way. So there is no time for the stomach to rest and for the body to actually have a rest from digestion. Okay, and that's a topic on that goes into fasting and benefits of fasting. But even simply, not touching the health, just touching the emotional aspect, and the mental aspect, we're constantly slightly numbed with food, heavy food, a lot of carbs, a lot of sugars, crisps, drinks, a lot of meat, a lot of cheese. We're constantly in that slight state of kind of food drunkenness, okay? We all know it feels nice, it feels good to have a big meal. It does, right? Nom, 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 nom. Right? Crisps, cheese, steaks, burgers, cheesy fries. People love them, cheesy fries, yeah? All very numbing, all very soothing. People almost call it soul foods. Carbs are the food for the soul. Well, your soul isn't hungry for food or cheesy fries, trust me on that one. What your soul hungry for is adventure. But you're numbing that desire and that drive with those kinds of foods. Now, foods aren't bad, okay? Eating isn't bad by itself. And there are good applications for all sorts of food. Meat or potatoes or tomatoes, okay, fruits and vegetables and sweets and sugars and drinks and even alcohol, okay? There are all good potential uses for that. Yet we're not quite using it right. We're just using it to numb ourselves. Numbing ourselves and then watching telly. Numbing ourselves and then scrolling on Instagram. Numbing ourselves and then not caring, okay? You come from work, you come from uni, you come from school, you're nervous, stressed, this, that. You sit down, you have your meal, you're not worried about things anymore. Almost like problem disappeared. It did not disappear. You just numb yourself to it. And conditionally doing that, as in conditioning yourself to that kind of habit, to like discomfort, eat, stops you from learning how to process these emotions. Stops you from learning how to process these emotions and creates that habit. Now, over time, these emotions build up and they turn into mental illnesses. They turn into anxiety. They turn into depression. They turn into even could be turning into things like bipolar and ADHD. You know how with time, mental illness gets worse? It's not actually that. What happens is you build up. And our body heals by itself. Like we can stop it, if we have a scar on our hand, we can stop it from healing, but most people just don't touch it and let it heal, and then it's healed. But our emotional body, our mental body, we scar it, or it gets scarred as life goes along. It gets scarred, but we don't heal it, okay? And so if your emotional body could be as visible as a physical body, it would be just all scarred up like you're coming from that horror film with the guy with 5 claws that comes to you in the sleep, okay? That's how our emotional bodies look like. That's how our hearts look like, okay? If we kind of use that language, you know, our hearts are bleeding, but they're never healed because we're numb all that pain and we don't want to process it. The way to process emotional pain is to allow it to run its course. It's temporary. It's temporary. Everything in this universe is temporary. Your life, my life, everyone else's life, life of trees, life of the plants, okay? The buildings we build, everything's temporary. And the emotions are very, very temporary. And you just have to allow it to run its course. Now, I understand how sometimes it feels overwhelming. And this is why we have those mechanisms of escaping, suppressing, repressing. And it's good to use them consciously. Yeah? And even it's okay to use food consciously, okay? If you know you can't feel this right now because you gotta finish a work project, or you got a job interview, or some other important occurrence, and you need to stuff this emotion down for now. Yes, there are cases that it needs to happen, okay? If you're struggling for food and you're upset about the breakup, but you need to eat, you know, you gotta stuff this down and go and work and get your money and have your meal so you're not starving to death. But for your long-term emotional growth, for your long-term human growth, you have to start being aware of how your food patterns and eating patterns are coping patterns and how they're stopping you from achieving your ultimate dream, your ultimate vision, your ultimate expression. So start paying attention. How many times a day are you feeling uncomfortable and then you eat something? How many times a week are you stressed, nervous, anxious, and then you stuff yourself with burgers and fries? Okay? And just for now, just do one less. Just do one less. Bring awareness into it as you're doing it. Be really aware of your eating, okay? And you can still do it if you choose to, but be very present and choose to do so instead of doing it as a reaction, okay? Instead of being at the effect of something, instead of being overwhelmed by your emotions and lose control of yourself and eat, be in control and choose to do it if you choose to do so. Consciously be like, I'm eating right now because I don't want to feel this emotion, if that's the case. But I promise you, about half of the time you'll be like, let me stay with it. Let me deal with it. Let me eat an hour later. Let me eat half an hour later. Start bringing into this. Now there's 2 more videos about raw foods and fasting I'm gonna post. Watch these because these are amazing ways to help you to start breaking those patterns, to start bringing up slowly bringing back more emotions, more feeling into your life, so you can drop and lose that anxiety, okay? Eliminate your anxiety. Be less depressed, more energized, more free, more fluid. Subscribe, click bell notification, comment, like, send to a friend. Thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely day.